The UFC returns to the Great White North this weekend with a welterweight main event between Gilbert Burns, former title challenger, and up-and-coming Canadian prospect Mike Malott. You already know we are coming for the title. We are coming for the belt. I'm a Canadian. You guys know I'm a Canadian casual. So I'll try to not be too biased on these picks. But in today's video, I'm gonna be giving you guys all my quick picks, my quick predictions for UFC Fight Night Burns versus Malott. We're gonna go ahead and get it started with the early prelim opener of Jamie Siraj taking on John Yan. Oh, man. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I might not be in the best of peppering moods today because I just can't get over Yuri's loss, man. I can't. Yuri. Fuck. I wanted to make a recap video, but I couldn't make a recap video. This past weekend, man, Yuri got slimed out, man, when the win was right there. It was right there, but we're going to try to stay composed. Jamie Siraj taking on John Yanis. Jamie Siraj, man, up-and-coming Canadian prospect, coming out of BFL, coming out of TriStar Gym, a gym I'm very familiar with. I'm out north. I am in Canada, and I've gone and I've trained at TriStar Gym, and I've seen Jamie Siraj. I've seen Faraz Zahabi. I've seen, obviously, Ayman Zahabi, and somebody else we're going to talk on this card, Rat Garbage. You already know Mandel Nalla. If you don't know, now you freaking know. Jamie Siraj, man, he's a pretty good fighter. Pretty well-rounded, really good grappling, nice rear naked chokes, and I think that's all there really is to say about this fight. John Yanis is put in this fight to lose, and I think it's a fight for Jamie Siraj to win and showcase himself, and just start his UFC career with a free win. So I'm going to go Jamie Siraj to get this one done by rear naked choke. Round one, round two, I think should be relatively easy. If Austin Bashi can run through John Yanis, who Austin Bashi is a good prospect, but is he really all that? He got a round one rear naked choke against Yanis in his last one. I think Jamie Siraj can do the same thing. So give me Jamie Siraj, round one, round two, rear naked choke. I think he should make easy work of John Yanis, who's a full-time employee, full-time worker. He doesn't treat MMA and UFC as his full-time career. He was cut from the UFC, brought back for the short notice fight, while Jamie Siraj has been fighting regional scene quite often. You know, he's been quite active. I don't think Jamie Siraj has the highest ceiling, but I am going to go with Siraj to win this fight by submission in round one. We move on. John Castaneda versus Mark Vologden. A decent fight. And I gotta say, man, as a Canadian casual, I'm fucking disappointed with this card. I'm disappointed with this card because this card could have been so great. It could have been in Ottawa. It could have had numbered names, big names. We could have had a lot going on in this fight card, but the UFC's really treated this as just, let's just dump a bunch of new either contender winners or just new UFC prospects. We're just going to sign a whole bunch of regional guys and just call this a fight night. And that's really what they've done, which is unfortunate to see. But John Castaneda fighting Mark Vologden. Vologden had the greatest Dana White Contender Series fight of all time. The greatest Dana White Contender Series fight of all time. Probably the greatest 3-round war we've ever seen in MMA. Genuinely, it was an absolute war. Both guys were bloodied to bits, man. They were just chucking just combos nonstop. And Mark Vologden's fighting this weekend. His opponent, I believe, is Adrian something, or Adriano something, is fighting next weekend. So both guys are here. We got Mark Vologden fighting John Castaneda. I'm going to go with John Castaneda, man. Even though Mark Vologden had an absolute banger in his Dana White Contender Series fight, he was just eating damage. The guy's got no defense. And if you guys know John Castaneda, the dude is a scrapper. He is a crafty vet, and I think he's going to craft up a victory here. Just like how I think Grant or Davey Grant's going to craft up a victory against Mark Vologden's opponent on Dana White Contender Series. We'll talk about that next week, though. I'm going to go John Castaneda. He's bigger. He's got way more experience. He's fought way better guys. And I think he's going to win this one, mixing in the grappling, just staying defensively sound, you know, dodging and bobbing and weaving the shots that Mark Vologden just wings with full power. I think Vologden will catch John Castaneda, but I don't think he's going to put him out cold. So I'm going to go John Castaneda by decision. Scrappy, 29-28. Very fun fight. I think this could be fight of the night. We'll see how it goes, but I'm going to go John Castaneda by decision as the early pick. We move on. JJ Aldrich versus Jamie Lynn Horth. Man, I'm telling you, they're going to have a lot of Canadians on this card, and I'm going to pick a lot of them. I'm going to go Jamie Lynn Horth to win this fight. Even though she's the older fighter, the less experienced fighter, I do think she's way better. You know, she's coming off a big win, a big knockout over Teresa Bleda. Looked really good. Finished her in round one. Very impressive. I picked her in that fight as well as an underdog. And now she's fighting JJ Aldrich, who has had the most 50-50 career of most women's flyweights. Like really, really just 50-50. You don't know if she's going to win or lose. It's really hard to predict a JJ Aldrich fight. Like, I can't go into the P's and Q's and, she's going to pop that jab. She's going to bob and weave. Like, I don't really have much to say about JJ Aldrich, but I do have stuff to say about Jamie Lynn Horth. She will come forward. She will pressure you. She's the much bigger, more physical fighter in this fight. And I think she's just going to be the way more active fighter. This is going to be a close decision, like every single one of JJ Aldrich's fights, but I think Jamie Lynn Horth is going to do more. We're in Canada. We're in Winnipeg. Jamie's going to get it done by decision. I'm going to go Jamie Lynn Horth by 29-28. Close decision, maybe a split, but Jamie's going to get the nod. We move on to the next fight, Mitch Raposo versus Alan Nascimento, man. If you guys know me, I'm a big fan of all the shoot-the-box guys. You guys know, okay? I'm biased with the shoot-the-box guys. I like Alan Nascimento. I like Charles Oliveira. I like the boy Daniel Santos. I like Gabriel Santos. I like all those guys that shoot the box. So I'm super biased, but I'm going to go with Alan Nascimento. I'm seeing a lot of fucking people taking Mitch Raposo this weekend, and Mitch Raposo absolutely pisses me off as a fighter. He absolutely pisses me off. I don't know why the judges love this guy, but he's constantly getting split decisions that are just clear unanimous. Suma Dwarji absolutely beat Mitch Raposo 29-28, clear unanimous decision, and it was a split decision. The fight before that, Mitch Raposo got a split decision loss, which should have been unanimous. And then he fights an Uzbekistan prospect who I think beat him, and Mitch Raposo won by split decision. So the dude loves going to split decisions. That's all he fucking does. But Alan Nascimento's bigger. He's more physical. He's stronger. He's a better grappler, and he's a better striker. And he just subbed Cody Durden, which is a very good look. I think Cody Durden would piece up and beat Mitch Raposo over 3 rounds. So I'm going to go with Alan Nascimento. I think he's going to win this fight. And I think he's going to win this fight off of grappling Mitch Raposo and doing the more damage. I don't think he's going to sub him. I think Mitch is, decent on the ground. He's got decent wrestling, but he's so small. He's a little dude at flyweight, all right? He's super little. I think Alan Nascimento is going to be able to bully him because he's a weight bully. And, he misses weight from time to time, but I think he's going to make weight here. He's going to come in big, come in strong, and I think he's going to dog walk and just handle Mitch Raposo. I think he's going to be able to judo throw him. I think he's going to be able to take him down with relative ease. And I think Alan Nascimento is going to win a 29-28, maybe 30-27 decision here where he boosts himself up and potentially gets a ranked opponent. I think he's deserving of a ranked opponent. I don't know why the fuck the UFC made this fight. Why are we giving Mitch Raposo this opportunity? It's just like the UFC love this guy. And he's not good. All right, so I'm going to go Alan Nascimento, 29-28, maybe a 30-27 if he just grapples for all 3 rounds. But Alan Nascimento wins this fight. I don't see all the love coming in on Mitch Raposo. I don't get it. We move on to the next fight, Melissa Croden versus Daria Zeleniakova. I like Melissa Croden. All right, I saw her debut live in Vancouver. I was fucking pissed about her last fight against Santos. But it was a close fight. It was a fairly close fight. She's got out-grappled in that fight. Good news is Daria Zeleniakova doesn't grapple very well, and Melissa Croden's lost to good competition. Her first loss in her MMA career was to Jacqueline Cavalcanti, and then her last one was to Santos. I forget her first name, but both really good opponents, both ranked level opponents as well. Melissa Croden's bigger than Daria. She's going to be more physical. She's going to be the way better striker. She's going to be the way more accurate striker, and she's going to have the way better cardio. I don't see a scenario where Melissa Croden gets weared down by Daria Zeleniakova and gets pieced up. I don't see that happening. Zeleniakova's a decent striker, but Melissa Croden's better. And you can call me biased all you want. She's Canadian. I'm picking a lot of Canadians here. I'm a Canadian guy myself. So, of course, I'm a Canadian casual. But Melissa Croden's better than Daria everywhere. Everywhere this fight goes. And in the grappling, I think she out-grapples Daria with ease. I think Melissa, she fought a very good grappler in her last fight. Went to a split decision with Jacqueline Cavalcanti in the regional scene. So that's a really good loss. That's aged really good because Cavalcanti's ranked top 10 right now in the bantamweight division. So I think Croden's still got a lot in her, and I think she can still give a lot to the bantamweight division. I think she's going to beat Daria Zeleniakova, and I think she's going to finish her in the 2nd or 3rd round via TKO, ground and pound. I think she's going to finish Daria Zeleniakova after tiring her out and just putting relentless pressure and power. So give me Melissa Croden as the pick by TKO in the 2nd or 3rd round. We move on. Tanner Boser versus Gokhan Sarikam. Oh, they're bringing Tanner Boser back. They're bringing him back. He's back. All right, this is what I'm talking about. This card is just... it's so weak. It's so weak, UFC. We could be doing so much better. I've gone to the last 2 Canada cards. UFC 315, UFC Vancouver. Both great cards. Both great cards, all right? Like, no complaints with either cards. Both had decent main events. You know, I mean, Jack Della Maddalena, Bilal Muhammad was an amazing main event fight of the night. And then you had Reiner de Ritter versus Brendan Allen, which was a pretty good fight. People were booing, but it was a good fight. You know, Brendan Allen broke Reiner de Ritter. It was a good fight. And with that whole card, Vancouver was a great card. So I had high expectations for this Winnipeg card. And I thought it was going to be in Ottawa. People were saying it's going to be in Ottawa. It's going to be in Ottawa. I was like, I'm driving to Ottawa. All right, that's a 2-hour drive for me. I'm driving to Ottawa. I was getting hyped. I was like, this is about to be a great fight card. I was like, they're going to put DDP versus Brendan Allen in the main event. You know, they're going to have Malott versus Burns co-main. They're going to have Jourdain versus, I thought they'd have him versus Marcus McGee as the feature fight. I was like, this card's going to be great. But this is what we get. This is the fucking slop we get. Tanner Boser versus Gokhan Sarikam. I'm going to go with Gokhan. You know, he's not younger, but he's more powerful. He's a good wrestler. He's a true heavyweight. I don't think Tanner Boser's a true heavyweight. He was at light heavyweight. He decided to, you know, just keep eating once he got cut from the UFC, bulk up to heavyweight, and he stayed at heavyweight. But he's a smaller heavyweight. He should be at light heavyweight. I think Gokhan's going to deal with Tanner Boser here. He's older. You know, I think Gokhan is just, he's got that juice in him. He does. All right, he's a Turkish guy. I think he's got juice in him. From the tape I've watched, he looks like a very promising heavyweight. So I'm going to go Gokhan Sarikam to get this one done by knockout. I think he's going to finish Tanner Boser or have a very scrappy decision here. But I think Gokhan's got the takedowns necessary to take down Tanner Boser. And once Boser's on his back, he's not getting up. He's not getting up. So give me Gokhan Sarikam, maybe ground and pound TKO or a decision where he takes him down, outworks him, outdamages him. I think Gokhan's going to get it done. I got to fade this Canadian. All right, I got to fade Tanner Boser. I'm sorry, brother, but I just don't think the comeback is happening. So give me Gokhan Sarikam. We move on, though. Julian LeBlanc versus Robert Valentin. Oh, what is this fight? What is this fight? I can't even pretend to be like, oh, dude, I know Julian LeBlanc, all right? I got to be honest. As a Canadian guy who watches BFL and watches these other promotions in Canada, I don't really know who the fuck Julian LeBlanc is, all right? I've watched one of his fights. And from what I saw, you know, he's decent. He's decent. Is he UFC level? I don't think so. Is Robert Valentine UFC level? I don't think so. But the dude's been getting fed to prospects nonstop. All right, Robert Valentine's been fighting. He's been fighting fucking Atiba Gauthier. He's been fighting Torres Finney. You know, he's been fighting all the prospects. All right, he hasn't had a very easy debut into the UFC, and he's just been kind of getting fed to prospects where he's just been a huge underdog. Hasn't had a chance at all. Hasn't, you know, really given anything for us to see. But I think Robert Valentine's going to win this fight. You know, as much as I want to pick the Canadian, I don't trust Julian LeBlanc in the debut here against Robert Valentine, who is tricky. You know, if he comes in with a smart game plan for once, and he's not fighting a big, bulky Atiba Gauthier who's just going to absolutely maraud him, I think Robert Valentine could do good. We saw him do good against, what's his name? Ryan Loder. Almost subbed him in the first round. Almost had multiple finishes on Ryan Loder on the tough season. And I like that from Robert Valentine. You know, he looked decent. It's just we haven't seen anything from him since that fight with Ryan Loder. So I hope we see something from Robert Valentine here. I don't think he's UFC level, even if he wins this fight. And I don't know if Julian LeBlanc is UFC level, which is why this is such a 50-50. I'm going to go with Robert Valentine because the dude has at least fought UFC competition and UFC level guys in Ryan Loder, Torres Finney, and Atiba Gauthier. But you can't trust this pick, to be honest. But I'm going to go Robert Valentine, and I'm going to say he gets a submission win over Julian LeBlanc or a scrappy decision, whereas I think this could be a fun fight. I'm going to be honest. This should be a very fun fight, but it's not UFC level fight. It's not a UFC level fight, but I'm going to go Robert Valentine as the pick. We move on to the main card. Dennis Bazooka on the main card of a live fight night. Fucking kill my... What are we doing? What are we doing? Dennis Bazooka on a main card of a fight night in the big 2026. What are we doing, UFC? What are we doing, man? I'm going to break down this fight anyway. Dennis Bazooka, you know, decent striker. Can mix in the wrestling decent as well. He trains with, oh my God, what's his name? Oh my goodness, man. He trains with Marab and he trains with Aljo. So he's got a good camp in Vegas. He trains in Vegas. Got a good camp there. Got a good team working around him. But he's fighting Marcio Barboza, who is a bomber of a featherweight. Very big, power-handed heavyweight, or featherweight, excuse me. He kind of reminds me of the guy we saw a few weeks ago in Seattle, Larian Douglas. He's just one of those Brazilians. He's one of those big, bombing away Brazilians who's got one-punch knockout power, who absolutely brutally chinned his opponent on Dana White Contender Series. Not a great opponent, I'm going to be honest, but he had a good showing there. You know, bombed him away in the first or second round, looked really good doing it, made it easy work of his opponent. And I think he's going to finish Dennis Bazooka in the first round. I'm going to go Marcio Barboza, even though I have looked at some of his regional scene, and once he makes it to the later rounds, he doesn't do good. I'm going to be honest. You know, once he gets in that second or third round, he fought not Daniel Santos, Gabriel Santos on the regional scene at LFA. Did not look good whatsoever. Once they got to the, I believe it was the third round, Gabriel Santos came out, head kick. Marcio Barboza just basically was like, quit. He dropped, quit, and got finished. But that is a good opponent. You know, he's fought some better opponents than Dennis Bazooka, and Bazooka hasn't shown anything in his UFC career right now, so he shouldn't even be on the main card of a fight night, a live fight night. But I'm going to go Marcio Barboza. Round 1 knockout. This is a showcase fight, a showcase debut. I'm going to go Barboza to get this one done by knockout. We move on to the next fight. Thiago Moises, Gage Young on the main card of a live fight night. What is this? What is this? Fuck. Oh, I don't want to get demonetized, man, but oh, what is this? It's a terrible fight. It's a terrible fight. This should be literally the opening prelim. I don't know what we're doing with this fight on the main card. Thiago Moises has been around the block for a long time. He's a vet of the game. Fought Benoit Saint-Denis. He just fought Jared Gordon. You know, he's fought some decent level lightweights. He's been in the UFC for a while. Now he's fighting Gage Young, an up-and-comer, a guy who just got his first UFC win in, what was it, China? Against, I forget his name. It was one of the Chinese prospects. Got a good win. You know, a good win. Pieced him up in the feet with the boxing. Was able to mix in a takedown or two. Looked pretty good, you know, and even though Thiago Moises is a vet, he's scrappy, you know, he can mix it up. I do think Gage Young, with the younger, being younger, you know, having less damage on him, not having an absolutely terrible chin, I think Gage Young's got the way better chin, the way better hands. I do like to pick Thiago Moises from time to time because I do think his BJJ is great. You know, he subbed Melquizael Costa, that win has aged like wine. But I do think Gage Young is coming into his prime while Thiago Moises is quickly and rapidly declining. He got put out cold by 40-year-old Jared Gordon in his last fight. That's a terrible look. So I'm going to go with Gage Young to win this fight. I think he's going to win this fight by decision. Probably won't be the most entertaining fight, but I think Gage Young on the back foot, just point fighting away, you know, jab, 1-2, leg kicks, chopping up the leg of Thiago Moises, you know, mixing in a takedown or two without exposing his back and giving up his neck, because I think that's Thiago Moises' only way of winning is with a rear naked choke. You know, he has moved to the Fighting Nerds, which is a good sign for Thiago Moises. Maybe he's trying to revitalize his career, but I do think Gage Young should get this one done by decision. So give me Gage Young by decision, 29-28. Point fighting decision on the back foot. We move on to a fight I do sort of care about. My girl, Jasmine Jasudavicius, taking on Karine Silva. You guys know, all right, I'm a huge Jasudavicius fan. I'm a huge Jazzy fan. Jasmine, I've been at her past 2 fights, you know, looked amazing against Andros, finished her in the first round via rear naked choke, cashed me the fuck out in that one. And then she fought Manon Fior in Vancouver and got slimed out in the first round. Brutal loss, but it is to number 1 flyweight in the world, Manon Fior. That's not the worst loss, okay? While Karine Silva is going life and death with Deone Barboza. You know, they're not on the same level. Jasmine Jasudavicius has been fighting the way higher competition, has been beating the way higher competition. Besides her loss to Manon Fior, she was on a 5 or 6 fight win streak at the moment, you know, making her way up. If she had beat Manon Fior, she'd be fighting for the flyweight belt at the moment, okay? So she's only a couple fights away from the top, and I think she's going to beat Karine Silva in this fight. I think she's going to submit her in the second or third round via Darce choke. I think Jasmine Jasudavicius has sneaky submission game. I think her grappling is way better than Karine Silva. We saw Silva get taken down by Deone Barboza, lay on bottom, just hunt for guillotines, and just really have nothing for Deone Barboza, and somehow got the win. I thought she lost that fight. She got the win. She got the nod from the judges. I don't think we're going to see that in this fight, though. I'm going to go Jasmine Jasudavicius to win this fight by submission. I think she's going to finish Karine Silva because Silva's cardio is so shit. All right, it's so bad. And Jasmine Jasudavicius has solid cardio. She trains out of a great team in Ontario at Niagara Top Team. Niagara Top Team is a great camp, and it is a great MMA gym. And we're going to talk about that later in the main event. But I'm going to go Jasmine Jasudavicius to win this fight. In Canada, in Winnipeg, I think she's going to get the grappling going. I think she's going to out-cardio Mog and just outpace Karine Silva over 3 rounds. And once it gets to the second and third round, I think we're going to see Karine Silva not be able to look for chokes anymore, not have any energy, and that's when Jasmine is going to be able to wrap up a Darce choke or maybe a rear naked choke and submit Karine Silva. So I'm going to go Jasmine Jasudavicius, late second or third round submission. Give me Jazzy for the win by sub. We move on to the feature fight, Mandel Nallo versus Jai Herbert. Mandel Nallo, prospect out of TriStar Gym. He's 36 years old. My boy is getting up there in age. I have trained at TriStar, like I said earlier, and Mandel Nallo is a very good prospect. Really nasty striker, really dangerous, big power in the hands, very unassuming, very underestimated. You look at him, you're like, what does this guy really have to offer? And then he just brutally chins his opponents in the first or second round. The guy's got power. He's got power. He's got dexterity. He's got crazy flexibility with the kicks. The high kicks are insane. The body kicks are insane. His bouncy karate style is very entertaining to watch. And I think this is a showcase fight for him. Jai Herbert has been in there with some of the best guys. Ilia Topuria, he just fought Chris Padilla. Before that, I believe he fought a decent opponent as well. He's been fighting pretty decent lightweights, right? I think Mandel Nallo is a very good lightweight. It sucks that we're only getting him here in the UFC at 36 years old, but I think he's still so fast, so powerful, and I think this is going to be a flash round one knockout by Mandel Nallo. I think he's going to chin the fuck out of Jai Herbert. So give me Mandel Nallo as the pick. I don't have too much to break down here. Mandel Nallo's Dana White contender. What am I saying? Dana White Contender Series fight was amazing. He looked great in that fight. Caught his opponent coming in. He popped him with a nice little right hook or a nice little straight right, dropped him, and then finished him on the ground with ease. His kicks were nasty. He landed flush head kicks, and his opponent just ate that shit. Jai Herbert's not going to eat those flush head kicks, like he threw against Ilia Topuria, but I'm going to go with Mandel Nallo. By knockout, round one, showcase fight here. I think Nallo gets it done. He's going to be my prediction in this one. We move on to the co-main event. Kyler Phillips versus Charles Jourdain. You guys know I'm a massive Charles Jourdain glazer, all right? I have interviewed him. I have talked to the boy. He did invite me to train at his gym. I'm going to take him up on that after he mogs and destroys Kyler Phillips and absolutely destroys him. But I'm going to go Charles Jourdain as the pick. No surprise. No shocker here, okay? This is biased. My boy, Charles Jourdain. You guys know that's my boy. That's my homie, okay? Friend of the channel. Friend of Yap MMA. We gotta stick with our boys, Charles Jourdain, okay? But Kyler Phillips is good, okay? I'm a little bit worried. I am a little bit worried for Jourdain because this is a very tough fight to break his way into the rankings. Kyler Phillips should be ranked. Charles Jourdain should be getting ranked after this fight. I don't know what we're doing, UFC. Apparently, Kyler Phillips is no longer ranked. Unfortunate, but I think Charles Jourdain's still going to be ranked after this fight. At least that's what the UFC told him, and that's what he told me when I interviewed him. You already know. But Kyler Phillips is a very good fighter. Great round one fighter. Very, very fast, very explosive in the first round. Really good hands, really good kicks. He likes to throw spinning kicks, spinning elbows. Very fast bantamweight. This is going to be a speed advantage for Kyler Phillips in the first round, but I think the second and third round are going to be trouble for him when he's fighting Charles Jourdain, because Charles Jourdain is a guy who also has very fast kicks, who's going to be much bigger than Kyler Phillips in there as a former featherweight, fighting guys like Gene Silva, fighting guys like Ricardo Ramos, fighting guys like he's fought really good guys in the featherweight division. Sean Woodson, he's fought really long, big featherweights, and Gene Silva being ranked top 5 now in the featherweight division. Charles Jourdain fought him. That was his last fight at featherweight. Got knocked out, but that's freaking Gene Silva. Moving down to bantamweight, now he's on a 2-fight win streak, both by guillotine submission. Beautiful against Victor Henry. And then he also just submitted Davey Grant in the first round after a flying knee in Vancouver. I was there live. That was a freaking phenomenal performance, man. A beautiful performance. I can't glaze it enough. And Charles Jourdain's looked like a different man at bantamweight. And when I was talking to him, he was saying, the recovery's better. I feel bigger. I feel stronger. I feel more powerful. I feel dangerous. That's the big thing we were talking about, is the danger factor with Charles Jourdain at bantamweight, because a lot of these bantamweights are very technical, very clean. That's why a lot of people love the bantamweight division, but they're not big finishers. But Charles Jourdain coming down to bantamweight, 2 finishes in a row, very dangerous with the guillotine, very dangerous with the hands and the power. And I think once this gets out of the first round, Kyler Phillips is cooked. I think Charles Jourdain will be faster in the second, faster in the third, have better cardio than Kyler Phillips, because we saw Kyler Phillips tire out after 1 round against Rob Font. He got a couple takedowns and tired out, wasn't able to do anything. I think in round 1, Kyler Phillips is going to piece up Charles Jourdain a little bit on the front foot, march him down, pop some nice jabs, kick him at range, get a takedown or 2, and Charles Jourdain will, get up, keep scrambling. And then the second or third round, we're going to see Charles Jourdain take over. And I think Charles Jourdain is going to finish Kyler Phillips in the second or third round. I think he's going to finish him with a body shot or with a guillotine. Maybe a body shot drops him, catches him in that guillotine, chokes him out. I think we're going to see Charles Jourdain be the first one to finish Kyler Phillips. Not to mention, not to do MMA math here, but Charles Jourdain submitted Victor Henry, who beat Kyler Phillips on the regional scene by split decision, all right? And he did win that fight. So I think Charles Jourdain is going to win this fight. I think he's going to find a finish late in the second, early third round. I think we're going to see a second or third round guillotine or body shot, liver shot TKO for Charles Jourdain. Give me my boy Charles Jourdain to get this one done, get himself ranked, get himself up in that bantamweight division, because I think he's a problem at bantamweight. I seriously think this is a career-changing move, a life-changing move for Charles Jourdain, and I think he's going to look phenomenal in this fight. So give me Charles Jourdain by finish in the second or third round as the prediction. We move on to the main event, man. Gilbert Burns versus Mike Malott. Mikey Malott, man, you guys know I like Mike Malott, all right? And a lot of people discredit him and don't like him. You know, he lost to Neil Magny, wasn't the best loss. He was winning the entire fight, 30 seconds to go in the final round, about to coast his way to a 29-28 decision there, gets TKO'd on the ground and kind of quits, you know, and it was a really bad look, But since then, he beat Trevin Giles in Edmonton, good win, good decision win, came back, bounced back, and then went to UFC 315, knocked Charles Radke the fuck out. That win has aged like wine really well, since Charles Radke's now on a 2-fight win streak, just won last weekend. And then he beat Kevin Holland, who also just got a win last weekend, another great win, you know. And now he's fighting Gilbert Burns in the main event, 5 rounds, a vet of the sport, Gilbert Burns, a guy who's been around in the UFC for absolute ages and who has fought the best of the best in the welterweight division. You know, this is a very tricky fight for Mike Malott. I'm not going to pretend like just because Gilbert Burns is a massive underdog, he has no chance, because I think Gilbert Burns can win this fight, but he needs to take it into deep waters. And at 40 years old or pushing 40 years old, I can't trust Gilbert Burns to take this to round 3, 4, 5. When Mike Malott is very dangerous, has a nasty guillotine, has a nasty arm triangle, has really big power in his hands, and is very explosive at this division. I think Mike Malott is the much better striker, especially at the age that these guys are at. Mike Malott's in his prime. Gilbert Burns is way past his prime, taking a lot of damage, has fought the best of the best. This is a step down for him, but it's not a good fight for Gilbert Burns because Mike Malott is dangerous. It's not like he's trying to win a decision here. He's trying to finish Gilbert Burns. He's trying to put a showcase fight on here to get a big next fight. You know, he wants to be up in the welterweight rankings. He wants to go for gold, and I think he's going to get it done. So I'm going to go with Mikey Malott, to get this one done. Maple Militia, baby. Canada on top this weekend, and I think Mike Malott's going to get this one done by round 2 knockout. I think it's going to be a round 2 TKO up against the fence. I think he's going to be piecing him up with a combo, and I think he's going to catch Gilbert Burns on the chin with a right or a left hook, drop Gilbert Burns, and TKO him on the ground. I think we're going to get a big performance from Mike Malott here. Don't get me wrong, Gilbert Burns could shock the world. He could make this to get this to the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, and there he's got a chance, but I just don't see that happening. So give me Mike Malott. He also trains at Niagara Top Team with Jasmine Jasdavicius, a great team. And I think Mike Malott's here for a big showcase fight. That's why the UFC's put this matchup together in the main event. So give me Mike Malott as the prediction by knockout in round 2 or round 3. Mike Malott's going to get it done for the Maple Militia. Those are all my predictions for UFC Fight Night Burns versus Malott. I got to be honest, as a Canadian, I'm disappointed in this fight card. Could have been way better. You know, I understand they're trying to push the boy Mike Malott. I love Mikey. I'm not hating on Mikey, but Gilbert Burns main event 2026, you know, like, not enough ranked matchups, a lot of debuts on this card. It's just, it's very underwhelming. You know, they could have put a lot more on this card. They could have put more effort into this card because it feels like a Canadian regional scene fight night. You know, a UFC fight night that's just a regional scene fight night. It's underwhelming. But I'm going to go with the Maple Militia man, Mike Malott. I think Mike's going to get it done. I think we're going to see a lot of Canadian victories on this card. And I'm excited to see that, man, because Canadian MMA is making a bounce back. We're making a comeback. Maybe we don't have GSP anymore, but we got some good guys from TriStar, some good good fighters from Niagara Top Team. A lot of good Brazilian top teams from where Charles Jourdain's from. A lot of great fighters coming up from Canada, so I'm excited to see that. That's the entire video, boys. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Go down in my description down below to go get my bets for this entire weekend on my Winnable, and I will catch you guys in the next video. See you.